So today, we're going to tackle a topic that, sounds a little complex, but is absolutely essential: data governance. And we're going to be pulling our insights from the industry Bible itself, the DAMA Data Management Body of Knowledge, or DMBOK, to really get a handle on how organizations can turn all that data into a seriously powerful asset.
Let's just kick things off with the one question that every single organization really needs to ask itself. The DMBOK puts it perfectly. If you don't manage your data, it's just like not managing your money. You end up with waste, you miss huge opportunities, and pretty soon, your most valuable asset can become a massive, massive liability.
So many organizations are kind of living in a data wild west, right? Where every department has its own rules, its own definitions. And what does that lead to? Inconsistency, terrible quality, and a whole lot of risk. Data governance, that's the framework that brings order to all that chaos. It's about moving from just reacting to problems to being an intentional control.
Okay, so what is data governance officially? Well, the DAMA-DMBOK defines it as the exercise of authority and control over the management of data assets. I know, that sounds a little dense, so let's break that down. It's really about setting up a system that answers the big questions. Who gets to make decisions about our data? And how should our people and our processes act when they handle it?
So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, just imagine a central group that's setting the rules of the road for data for the entire organization. This team is thinking about the big picture. They're defining the overall strategy, they're creating the policies, they're checking for quality, and they're providing that crucial oversight to make sure everybody is playing by the same rules. All right, now for what is easily the biggest point of confusion when it comes to this topic. To really get what data governance is, it is absolutely crucial to understand that it is not the same thing as the day-to-day work of managing data. They're two different things.
Think of it like this. Governance is kind of like the city council. They're the ones setting the traffic laws and the speed limits. That's the what and the why. Data management, on the other hand, well, they're the team of engineers and the construction crews actually out there building and maintaining the roads according to those laws. One provides the oversight, the other handles the execution.
And this illustration from the DMBOK just nails this separation of duties perfectly. Over on the left, you've got governance, providing that high-level oversight, making sure the data is managed the right way. And on the right, you've got management, doing the hands-on work, actively managing that data to hit business goals. You absolutely need both, but their roles are fundamentally different.
Okay, let's get into the weeds a bit. How does an organization actually build a governance function? According to the DMBOK, it really all comes down to three core building blocks.
First up, you need people. Specifically, you need data stewards. These are the folks who are accountable for data in their particular corner of the business. And I love this point the DMBOK makes. They're often these subject matter experts who are already helping the company get value from its data, even if they don't have a fancy title.
Second, you need policies. Now, these are not super detailed procedures. Think of them as high-level directives. They set up the fundamental rules for how you create, use, and protect data. Like the DMBOK says, they define the what, and then later on, standards and procedures will define the how.
And third, you need a plan. You need an operating model. This is what defines how your whole governance structure is set up. As you can see, you might go with a top-down, centralized model where one group makes all the rules. Or maybe a federated model is a better fit, where a central body coordinates with different business units to keep standards consistent. There's no one right answer here. It really depends on the company's culture and its strategy.
So, this brings us to a really critical point. Putting data governance in place isn't some technical project you can just hand off to the IT department. No way. It's a huge cultural shift. It involves changing how people fundamentally think about and interact with data.
The DMBOK is crystal clear about this. If you don't address the human side of things, if you don't have strong leadership backing it, and if you're not actively managing the organizational change, then even the most perfectly designed governance strategy is pretty much destined to fail. The culture itself has to learn to value its data.
So how do you actually make a program like this work? The DMBOK points to three absolute must-haves. First, it has to start with committed leadership from the very top. This cannot be a bottoms-up effort. Second, you have to treat it like a cultural change initiative, not just a tech project. And finally, you have to measure your impact to prove the financial and business value you're creating. That's how you keep the momentum going.
And we'll leave you with this last thought. You see, data governance isn't about creating more red tape. It's about unlocking potential. It's the framework that lets you turn data from a potential problem into a proven, high-value asset. So the real question is, what are you going to build with it?